There's a thin line between heroism and madness.
Here the line fades to nothing at all. This is a world of capes and lunatics.
And nothing is off limits.
Today, Lilith Hellfire, environmentalist living in her Arctic fortress of solitude, teaching compromise to the world. Charlie Esser, king of the Google, promoting Google all over the world. Kindle and wait,
No,
or is it Amazon?
That's Amazon.
I was against Amazon, although as I said last night, well, we'll get to that. Start the show, we'll talk about it.
He's so poor he had to wait like 48 hours for his Krypton. Capes and Lunatics starts. Ooh, and I'm going international. Capes and Lunatics starts right now.
No, right now.
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 That's what you get for doing it live, Phil.
Hello and welcome to our trademark Not So Perfect Capes and Lunatics, episode 45. I am Phil. That chilly girl over there is
Lilith Hellfire, y'all.
And the king of the Amazon,
Charlie the Professor Esser. So yeah, so last night I was going on my tirade, and actually I'm going to make this point that my central premise is still true. That far more problematic than net neutrality is device restriction. Because after all that said, still no YouTube on Amazon. Although I guess Alexa is listening to me, because the other day, because when I turned it on, they did have that you can get to YouTube by going through Silk. I'm like, okay, Amazon, please.
Charlie, do I have to come visit you and put the Google Play Store on your tablet? Is that what I'm going to have to do?
No, I have Google Play, but if my tablet is a Kindle, if you have Amazon devices, there is not a YouTube app for Amazon in the way that there's a YouTube app for Android devices.
Right, you have to actually download the Google. That's the first thing I did when I got mine. I was like, okay, how do we do this? Let me get the Google Play Store. Let me get the Google Accounts Management, and boom, done. I do not like the Fire OS at all. So
yeah. Okay. Anyway, but like I said, last night, after I went onto my whole thing and making this point about how Krypton, I could purchase Krypton, but I couldn't get it for free, even though I could get it for free through other systems. Last night, Krypton showed up on Sci-Fi on Kindle. So there was a delay. We'll see how much that delay carries forward. And what's annoying about it is that, not every app, like for example, Hulu has live TV the next day, but not for every channel. And CW isn't really on Hulu as much as like ABC is. So,
well, but they have their own app. You don't have.
Yeah.
You don't like it?
Well, I don't like having. It's hard enough. I want to do this to get to my channels. This is the thing, and this is what I was saying. That there's a difference between when you're on your phone or on a tablet or even on your computer, and when you're sitting in the big comfy chair with the remote and you're flipping. And right now, with DirecTV Now as the app, you can flip, but it's like, because you flip left to right instead of up and down, which is a little weird, but I can get used to it. But you do the guide overlay, and that's normally how you change channels, as you can scroll through the guide overlay and then you can select your next channel. Now, which is good, which is okay. Hardest thing with it is that the channels are organized alphabetically. So it's like ABC's up here and NBC's down here, and then, and CBS is in the middle, and it's just weird that they have it structured like that. But you live. These are minor issues, but it's like, it's not what I'm used to. I'm an old man. I want 2, 3, 4, 7.
Keep you young. Kids keep you young. You'll get used to it. And like next month, you'll be like a pro at it. You won't even think about it.
I know. Anyway, but it's we're surviving, and I do say, you know, you complain and things happen.
Where's my
if nothing else, Alexa hears all, and
oh yes.
Although Alexa has been having so many problems because it's like every time anything happens, Alexa forgets how to get back into the Wi-Fi. So it's like every day I have to reattach her to the Wi-Fi. Alexa, the Echo Dot is not very doesn't remember how to get into it doesn't know how to get into the Wi-Fi very well.
Well, you should be thankful for that, just in case.
Yeah,
it takes time to build a Skynet and do that.
The other issue I'm having right now is that I've recently learned there's a difference between a 2.5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection and a 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connection, and that a lot of devices can't connect to a 5, although 5 has the better system. So, for example, the Kindles can't connect to the 5; they have to connect to the 2.5. My computer has to connect to a 2.5. It cannot connect to the 5 gigahertz connection.
Yeah, it's because they're not officially rolling the whole 5 all the way out. It's like limited area. Or something like that. It's not universally adapted yet.
I know, and it's a pain in the tookie because the 5 is better. So my device, my hub can go up to 5. I can put it on the 5, and as soon as you put it on 5, everything runs so much smoother if it can connect to 5. But a lot of our devices can't connect to the 5; they have to connect to the 2.5. So. First world problem.
You'll get a patch soon, and it'll be fine.
One hopes. Anyway, so yeah, that's the world of my technology.
Did you like Krypton? All that trouble? Did you actually like it?
Actually, so here's what I said. My bar for Krypton is don't be DC's version of the Inhumans, and it is better than the Inhumans.
Didn't buck us.
It didn't buck us. No, it was. It's not a bucked up show. There are a lot of issues that like pull me out of the show. First off, you know exactly what part of London is Krypton located in.
Yes.
You know, or is that just Kandor? And like, are all the is it? There's more than one city on Krypton, right?
Yeah.
Because like everyone lives in Kandor. I'm a little weird. I'm a little confused by what the geography of Krypton was, because I actually thought Kandor was like over on the south side of Krypton. I didn't think everyone lived in Kandor. I thought Kandor was like another city. That's why other people like survive after Brainiac takes Kandor and shrinks it.
Boy, Governor, this is the bad part of town.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I think I figured out why Krypton was in development hell for so long.
Yes.
It was developed by David S. Goyer, who also had a hand in Constantine, and after that whole debacle, they kind of had to do what they did with Scott Buck and kind of remove him from some things. So, and they had to retool it. So, and you know, not for nothing, Constantine did have 2 pilots technically. I think Krypton actually probably ends up with like 3 pilots if you all the reshoots and stuff that they had to do to it. So, I think the second and third, as it goes on, and we see less Goyer influence, it'll get better.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, see, my biggest issues with it so far are kind of technical, and kind of confusing to me. Like the fact that before Phantom Zone technology was created, the chosen method of execution is literally throwing you off a cliff. It's a pretty weird.
School.
Yeah, it's like, dude. It's like not even like lethal injection. It's like we're gonna throw you off a cliff.
I love how they got rid of natural childbirth before they got rid of tossing people off a cliff.
Yeah, well, priorities, people, priorities.
Some things are just more fun, okay?
Well, you know what? And for what it's worth, apparently with this voice of Rao, obviously the people of Krypton are maybe they do have Phantom Zone technology, but the voice of Rao is just real old school. It's obviously a religious cult, so it's like just like how even in the modern world, some cultures still practice stoning and things like that. Maybe that's the Kryptonians are like, and we're going to go back to throwing people off of cliffs because that's just how we roll.
Which is weird I was a little disappointed that they didn't kind of take, maybe in going forward they will, like the Smallville where science is our religion kind of thing that they did when they introduced General Zod and all that stuff.
Well, I mean, I think there is some aspect of science is the religion, but I think you have that concept that science is the religion because we have that whole thing with the Oracle, you know, that whole scene with the Oracle. And it is that quasi-predictive, that quasi-magical sense of the order of their lives. So I think that there is this idea that maybe there is that science is religion, but then you also, rather than getting the best of science and religion, you get the worst of science and religion. You get like,
it seems like.
yeah, you know, you get, and okay, and now here's my biggest thing. Voice of Rao, guy in a big gold helmet. What do you want to wager that there is somebody that we're supposed to know underneath that helmet? That in the like end of the season, that helmet's going to come off, and that's Lex Luthor, or that's
General Zod.
Yeah, it's somebody, because we know someone from the future is coming to the past. It's Booster Gold. I don't know who.
Wrong.
Evil Booster Gold with a goatee. I'm not sure. Does Booster Gold have a villain who's also a time traveler? Is there a time traveler villain? There should be a time traveler villain. That'd be cool.
He might have had one in that ongoing series. I don't know. It's all weird.
Booster Gold. We don't talk about Booster Gold.
Well, I mean, supposedly they have plans for him live action, but that never materializes. So who knows? But
yeah.
And why Adam Strange? Adam Strange isn't like technically a time traveler. Is that because they use Rip Hunter on Legends of Tomorrow?
Probably yes, exactly. They used Rip Hunter on Legends of Tomorrow, and so they needed someone else to put in this. But you know what I'll say for it? I'm glad he's not British, because I wasn't even like that. Rip Hunter was British. Never sat right with me from the start with that, because I just don't think of Rip Hunter as British. I'm glad they made him a Detroiter, because, you know, or at least they call it to the Detroit Tigers, which I love. You know, it's weird to me because, you know, when I think of Adam Strange, I think of the guy in the red skin tight suit with the helmet and the jetpack. You know, it was weird to me that, yeah, it is weird that Adam Strange is the guy that they're using for this, rather than, and what it is they had already used Rip Hunter, and they didn't want to have a secondary Rip Hunter in this. They can't use Booster Gold because they're not sure what they want to do with Booster Gold yet. Honestly, and they probably didn't want to do the Challengers because then they had to have 4 actors. So it's like the people that they had on their short list was dwindling, and they said, get Adam Strange. He goes to space. Honestly,
maybe they were trying to capitalize on the Doctor Strange thing too. Like maybe they don't know. Maybe they'll get confused and wander over.
This is Doctor Strange's son? What?
I'm saying, you know, some people that don't know.
Yeah.
Yes. And then of course that's a whole other weird thing that everyone speaks English, just different accents.
No, it's Kryptonian. We got to understand them, Charlie. I'm not reading.
I know, but it just made it like so. For example, when Seg's mom says, "Tell me about this strange person," it struck me. Hey, strange is probably a word to them. Like the word "strange" sounds strange, and he's strange. You know, like the pun. They get the pun, which is weird because you shouldn't be able to get cross-cultural puns like that.
Who is that guy? Like, I don't even know who. Like, I don't know who any of these people are. Like, I don't know where they got them.
Oh, I think they're all made up. I don't think we've ever gone this far back in the.
Or do you mean the actors?
In the Kryptonian?
Yeah.
Oh, who the actors are?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy who plays the Kal-El's
grandfather or great grandfather.
Are you talking about Rupert Graves?
Seg's father. I've seen him.
Yeah, Tyrell. Yeah, that was Rupert Graves. That's the only person I recognized.
Okay, yeah. Well, you know, they usually get unknowns for these kind of things. I mean, who was Tom Welling before? Tom Welling
was actually. I mean, I'd seen him before Smallville and a couple of things. So I haven't seen any of these people. You don't watch Judging Amy. It's okay. It's okay.
You know what? They're probably British actors, and so they're probably, and you know, maybe that's why
they're pure British actors, because I watch a lot of British TV shows.
Okay. That's what I was gonna say. They're probably up and coming British actors.
Up and coming. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Britain
I
only
think-
has like 10 actors, 10 main actors. So
I do think I've seen the mom before, but I can't remember where. You know, none of them have Cockney accents, thank God. Although Dang Seg got close to it several times. Now that he's down in the mean streets in the bars of Krypton, bars of Kandor, throwing punches and throwing fights, you know. Yeah, I mean that was its own weirdness, but like I said, there's a lot of stuff that strike like, and I think Phil, you were saying this, how there's nothing that really makes you think this is a Superman show.
Yeah, it just seems like a futuristic sci-fi, adventure series, which is fine, but except for a couple S symbols and like a red cape, I really didn't get the feel of like a DC show. I know.
That's not a bad thing necessarily.
True. And like I said,
Constantine didn't feel like a DC show.
And it's the first week too. I mean, I'll give it time.
Yeah. You know what? You got to wait for the Panic and Flap Sweat to kick in. Although we got Brainiac.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, right off the bat, we're getting Brainiac. So that to me was a big seller.
It was a bit of interesting design too, by the way.
Oh well, yeah, I liked it though. It reminded me kind of the design they had in if you've ever seen The Death of Superman Lives, and you see the designs they had for Brainiac there. I thought that it was kind of reminiscent of that. I think that would have been a good one.
Martian Manhunter, to be honest, just a little bit.
Well, yeah, but I think their designs were similar to start with, you know. I mean, just green alien character was the original design, and there we go.
And I loved your point last night, Charlie. You were like, why is the House of L the only ones who wear capes?
But you know
that's why they get ostracized, because you don't wear capes. It's too
fat. You know what? But no, not all of them wear capes. Just the granddad wore capes. Just Val L wore a cape. He was the only one wearing a cape. He was the only one with the fashion sense to rock it. And like we said last night, I think that basically the L's were maybe just kind of fashion forward as a people.
That's why they were throwing him off the cliff. They're like, here, let's see if you can fly with that cape. Oh, no.
Yeah, I was waiting for it, man. You know, here's some of the plot lines I want to see in Krypton. I want someone to start introducing yellow sun radiation to Kryptonians. Because it strikes me that if their physiognomy is going to have this kind of reaction to ultraviolet radiation, someone's got to figure that out and figure out, hey, man, we can get hopped up on sun, you know, and get like short bursts of super strength, superpower, and have it be like a whole underground drug scene. You know, I'd love to see that in the Kryptonian.
I mean, in a lot of the lore, you know, they did know, and that's why they sent him to, sent Superman to where they sent him to. So maybe.
Well, in the John Byrne, they did know or they didn't know in the lore.
Some of them they do.
Yeah. And some, that's why Jor-El sends him to Earth, because he knows he's going to get
you can
powers.
Yeah, exactly.
But
no one's going to laugh at you for wearing a cape.
And if they do, incinerate them with your laser vision.
But if we want masks and capes on this show, I was thinking, why don't they introduce like those two legendary Kryptonian heroes, Nightwing and Flamebird?
You can't do Nightwing because of Titans, though.
Yeah, but you can't say that's where the name came from. Oh, that's always yeah.
Poor I always wants a Nightwing mention when it ain't gonna happen.
You're getting a whole Titans live action show, Phil. Don't be greedy.
Right. Don't mess it up, people.
Well, it is Greg Berlanti still being responsible, so don't get your hopes up, kiddo.
But like I said, I enjoyed it for a first episode. I liked the Adam Strange character. And again, Adam Strange is a character that no one has a strong opinion on. I'm willing to wager. So they can go out there with an Adam Strange, and so long as they don't make him a complete total jerk or something, you can actually have a lot of fun with the character and create this whole mythos for an Adam Strange character, and maybe even make Adam Strange an interesting person in the books.
Make Adam Strange great again.
Yeah, well, you know what? It happens. You take some kind of secondary character from some series, from some book, and you put him on the TV show, and suddenly that character's cool, and you
Green
can build
Arrow.
up this whole exactly. You know, finally being the second-rate Batman pastiche paid off because they can't use Batman. Well, who do we have who's exactly like Batman, but we can use Green Arrow?
Like literally the reasoning is so messed up.
Well, exactly. Well, no, they can't use Batman, so who do we have who is exactly like Batman? Who can be our Batman for Smallville and then later Arrow?
And Stephen Amell rejoiced.
Well, Justin Hartley rejoiced.
People, everyone needs work, and goodness bless them, It's great. It is great that is what that's why Green Arrow actually gets to be a character now that is noted and well beloved in the DC comic book universe because of his reinvention through Smallville.
Because he gets to make the money, so he gets to be treated better.
Yeah, well,
that's how it goes.
But the only reason he got to be there was because they could do whatever they wanted with him. Because no one was really worrying. Oh, they ruined Green Arrow.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
Okay.
That's not necessarily true, but we all just, this is about Superman, so we're just gonna let that go.
Yeah. Fair enough. But like I said, even if there are people who are going to say they ruined Green Arrow, it's not as many people who are going to say they ruined the Flash. You know what I mean? The Flash was on the Super Friends. Green Arrow didn't get in there until like third or fourth season, if he was lucky, as a replacement in a background scene.
Meanwhile, everybody loves Green Arrow. Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Just saying. Maybe not your generation, but my generation.
No. I'm not saying that Green Arrow didn't build up, but that all came after Smallville.
Justice League Unlimited was before Smallville.
Was it?
Right?
It was It was in the early days, wasn't it? Justice League. Yeah, Justice League.
It was Justice League and then Justice League Unlimited. Yeah,
but I think Smallville was around for a long time, and Green Arrow got introduced relatively quickly into the storyline, if I recall correctly.
No, was it?
No, season 6.
Season 6, yeah, but that thing
out of 10 though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know. I felt like he was there for a while. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've watched any of these shows, but I do think that Smallville predated Justice League Unlimited. I do think so. But we would have to go to the. We have to go to the.
I'm not going to the Google Schmoogle anyway. That DC animated universe has got a confusing timeline.
Yes, but anyway, but the point is that prior to either reinvention, whether it was on Justice League Unlimited or whether it was on Smallville, prior to that reimagining, or not even reimagining, but bringing more to the fore of the character, the character wasn't as big. And when you have a character who's not as big, you can do more interesting things with him. Just like, as an example, Harvey Bullock on Gotham. Now, granted, Harvey Bullock isn't an unknown character, but because he is a secondary character, you can do so much more to the depth of Harvey Bullock when you put him in a Gotham than you necessarily would if you were in a show that had to have a Batman in it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was here for it, especially with the casting. I was like, oh my God, it's freaking yes. I wasn't so crazy about Ben McKenzie as Gordon, even though I love Ben McKenzie, but that Harvey Bullock, it totally sold me. So yeah.
Yeah.
Donald Logue is, he does great with that. So
yes.
Poor Gotham.
Do you want
Gotham's going good. I just saw the last episode. That was good. I liked it.
I know, but their ratings are just hemorrhaging.
Wow.
Yeah.
It just seems like they're going around in a circle. It's like, okay, this one's going to be crime boss this week, and there's going to be drama between Gordon and a woman, Gordon and Bullock.
They really shouldn't have moved it Mondays for Lucifer. I'm just saying. I think Lucifer works better on a Thursday. I don't want to start my week off with the devil. I'm just saying. More towards the weekend.
I think Lucifer worked better at 9 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it's gotten a little more campy at the 8 o'clock slot.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on. Tristan likes it. But you know, but again, we watch it because that's like the only channel that was coming in. Now we've got more channels, so we can have a little more fun with it. But you know, it is what it is.
I love the therapist. She's great. I love Maze, but everybody else can go right in hell, literally.
You're not feeling Tom Welling as Kane.
At first I was, and it's just like, okay, this is dragged on way too long. That's Lucifer's problem. They drag things out way too long.
And they're using him as for like the love triangle. It's like, oh my god, Lucifer, you're doing a love triangle.
It's Klana and Chloe, and just I can't. That's all I see when I see him in the love triangle. All I think of was Lana Lang. Kristen Krug.
Tom Welling, king of the love triangles.
At least he's working.
True.
Yeah.
You know, Kane's cool.
And freaking Gotham, I mean, for a show that's supposedly grounded in reality, how many people they resurrected on that show?
Wait. We haven't taken that point in a long time.
I know, but originally,
season 1.5.
Originally, I should say, originally.
Yeah, well, originally it wasn't supposed to have supervillains or Batman.
Or even Batman. It was Bruce gets a one-off. That's it.
Yeah, it was supposed to be, Bullock and Gordon on the mean streets of Gotham. Maybe you meet the Penguin as, an underling, but you weren't supposed to get...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then they put Edward Nygma in, and then, and once they put Edward Nygma in, I think that was that I won't say it ruined the show. I will say that pretty much, since the first episode, I'll say that once you committed to Edward Nygma, you were pretty much saying this is the dark gritty reboot of Batman 66.
Yeah,
that is an accurate description.
Well, I didn't make that up. I got that from CBR, but that's basically what it is. It's like this is that universe of Batman, which is very, very much reminiscent and also kind of related to what you saw with the the Burton Batman universe, which again was highly influenced by that Batman 66 universe in its own way as well, and sort of bringing in this entire cartoonishness of the supervillainy into that real world. And if you're going to have a guy who dresses in like a bat at the end of the series, you kind of have to explain why that doesn't just make everyone go, you are clearly a mental case. You got to make him seem like the sane one. So you got to really play up how messed up the rest of Gotham is, up to the point that everyone goes, yeah, a guy dressed like a bat. Thank goodness we have one of those.
It's the branding. You could tell he's put thought into it. The rest of them just go out and start killing people. They don't put any thought into it.
Mm-hmm. Did I hear right that they're thinking about doing a No Man's Land for Gotham arc?
I heard that rumor.
I was like, isn't it No Man's Land already? Anyway, they never have government assistance ever.
Seriously, I know Tyler was.
Gotham is dead to the rest of the world.
Like, how long are they going to drag this out? Just throw him in the suit and end it already.
I mean, he's already like 6'2".
Exactly.
So I think we're
exactly.
good to go.
All you do is get that kid in the gym, and you got a Batman.
Yeah, well, they put him in. He has the suit, just no ears or a chest piece.
Oh yeah, the Midnighter suit.
Yeah. He's
pretty much.
Although he hasn't even worn that. Wow,
yeah. Nobody was looking at it the other day. He threw it into the fire because you have to have that. Peter Parker is Spider-Man No More scene. Where there are a lot of if you were a cosplayer in New York City, you could really do great by getting just discarded Spider-Man costumes, because Peter Parker just throws those into garbage cans like every couple of months. So it's like this is like a really authentic Spider-Man costume. I love it.
I like that Ben Reilly who sticks it through. He's not such a menace.
But anyway, so there was one thing I wanted to ask Lilith, as a big fan of Constantine. Constantine is now officially one of the legends. And now I didn't watch Constantine. Well, I watched like the first couple episodes of Constantine. And I've seen Constantine on this show before. Did it seem to you like they really ramped up the comedy on Constantine in this last episode?
Yeah, they did.
Like to an uncomfortable level?
Well, he's an uncomfortable character, and you know, they didn't really get the British wit, like, which is kind of dry. They went over the top with it, which, you know, I know a couple British people who are also over the top, but yeah, it's like I think they need to go sit down and rewatch Constantine and read a couple of books to really get his character. But I didn't really have a problem with it because he's very what's the word I'm looking for to describe him? Like, it's not like he's antisocial or anything like that, but he's like, I'm trying to think of that word where he just doesn't care, how he gets in people's face and says what he wants.
Well, no, misanthropic usually implies someone who's much more depressed.
Yeah, he's not he's very manipulative and charming when he wants to be. And I think they were trying to play it up, but that writer's room just kind of doesn't do well with that. I mean, look at how they put Sarah and Ava together. I just was like, okay. I'm supposed to believe that's a relationship kind of thing. So I just don't think they get the dynamic shit. And,
you know, I have to say that foot just pulled me out of the whole show. Because that was clearly a chew toy for a dog. Yeah, that was clearly a dog's chew toy. I mean, not even pretending to not be a rubber chew toy. But it didn't even look like it was the right size for an actual human.
I thought we were going to get another peacock feather, to be honest. And he was going to tickle his balls with it. Like, that would have been...
No.
You know, NBC, like I do have some, like I said about, you know, Krypton. Sci-fi is in the Universal family, so I hope it works out for you guys. I hope it gets treated better. But they also were responsible for how Powerless got the reboot. That I think the first draft of Powerless was better before they retooled it, in my personal opinion. I saw the script and I saw a couple of the scenes and stuff, and it was just like, then we got that. So
no.
Oh yes.
What are you gonna do? But anyway,
did you like Constantine or no? Do you think he's gonna be a good addition?
Well, you know, I think, like I said, I kind of felt like the way they were handling a lot of the stuff in that last episode felt very weird. Like it would just it didn't strike me as an episode that should have been having the comedy played up so much.
With a death totem and Sarah potentially losing her soul and working for Dark.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, really, maybe we should, you know, and you know, I liked Rory getting the fire totem. That was kind of cool. You know, so that's a neat addition to the idea.
I didn't think about it sooner, actually.
Yeah. Well, you know, in general, it was all it was interesting, but like I said, the Constantine scenes just kind of pulled me out of it. And you know, I think Constantine could be a great addition. I've always thought Constantine would be a great addition, but that as the episode. So I think the earlier episodes we've had with Constantine were a much better selling point for Constantine and the Legend.
Well, you have to think about time travel is not necessarily meshes well with mysticism, which is why it's like a time traveling demon this season is just kind of like this weird thing. It's like he's in a time prison and we have to unlock it, and the totems, and I think it's just too many concepts. They should have like stuck with one and focused on that instead of trying to like have this mishmash.
Yeah, but you got to remember that DC goes very mystical with its sci-fi all the time. I mean, just the whole Speed Force and Speed Demons and things like that really speak into that that there is this quasi mystical element to even something that is ostensibly sci-fi.
Yeah, but just not for the Legends though. Like I just don't feel like that was something for the Legends to handle. Like time travel, it's fun. I like it when they, except for that Elvis episode. For the most part, I like when they really go in on a time period.
I know, but for what it's worth, that ship is already sealed. Last season, they were chasing after the Spear of Destiny, or maybe that was 2 seasons ago. You know,
that was last season, I think.
Yeah, it's like that mystical quality of the show has been there for a while. So, and Damien Dark is a magic user, and so you know.
Yeah, and like I said, I like that they picked up Neil McDonough, but like they're not really doing anything with him. So it's just like he shows up every 8th episode, every 3rd episode.
Yeah, and twirls.
Does this little hand wave, my little girl kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, they're trying to have that father-daughter arc. And I think they're actually trying to give him some kind of a redemption arc at the end of it. I think that's essentially what they're working towards, is this idea that they're trying. I think they're actually trying to Loki him, where they're trying to have this character who is evil, but they're going to, and I guess people find him charming. So that it's going to have to lead to him with this reaction with his daughter, and his love for his daughter is going to lead him to betray Malice to try and save the universe because, you know, to quote Rocket Raccoon, to quote, what's his name? All my stuff is in the galaxy, you know. It's like, you know, this is where we live. We have to live in this universe. He didn't care about that
when he was on Arrow. He had his wife and his daughter then, so...
Yeah, well, but then again, this is why it's a redemption arc, and this is why it's time travel. Because what happens here that redeems his character doesn't necessarily affect that. And that's sort of this idea that there can be these parallel timeline Damien Darks, just like we can still have a Captain Cold, even though Captain Cold is dead. You know, Captain Cold can still be over in the Flashiverse. But you know, in the Legends universe, he's dead. So it's like when you're in that time sphere, you can have characters that can have these arcs that take them completely outside of their characters, which is, for what it's worth, maybe a selling point for the entire series.
You know what I think, though? I think, like, Constantine isn't needed because I feel like he's a more verbal Mick. I feel like those two are very similar. They're very, like, well... The Constantine that I know. I don't know what they're going to actually do with Constantine in the show, but like he's kind of like grumpy and definitely a misanthrope and enjoys his alone time and his beers and stuff. So
yeah, he wasn't very misanthropic in this. He was much more of a bon vivant. And to go to my old White Wolf character descriptions, you know, and yeah, which is why I felt that it didn't really work for me this last episode. I mean, other aspects of the episode I did think worked, but like the whole Constantine, and like I said, that foot thing, and the whole relationship with the captain and the lady from the Time Bureau.
It's avalanche, as an avalanche. That's what the shippers call them.
Okay.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
Well, honestly, I actually thought the relationship was nice. I didn't get why they had to kill the relationship.
Well, it's not dead yet.
Oh, I know,
but you know, it's that whole I'm too dark for you. I don't want to hurt you thing. It's just like,
you know what? That's just so cliche, and I've seen it enough.
They want their
Chicks,
female.
Man.
They want their female Oliver Queen.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's CW.
Yeah. Okay.
But then this morning, I guess CW Seed app dropped the five episodes of the Constantine animated series, 10 minutes apiece.
So, like, there's a CW app and a CW Seed app. What is the difference here?
CW Seed is more like their like pet projects, and it's like where the original season of Flash is, the first season of the Constantine live action show, and they do like mostly their comedy stuff there. So it's just like all these side projects that CW does, they put it on the CW Seed. So there's like all these other shows, and sometimes in the summertime they put the Seed shows on the actual CW show.
Yeah, but why do I have to go and download a completely different app for the same network? These people, it's like
NBC and USA. Think of it like that. So if you want your Law and Order like marathons, you go to USA. If you want the new episodes, you go to NBC.
And as a channel that works, as an app, I don't get that. Because the whole point of an app is it's an app. Here's the platform for watching the show.
I heard the CW was expanding to Sunday night, so maybe we actually won't even have the CW Seed except for like live action cartoons and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, but like I said,
it's a bandwidth thing. I don't know.
I don't know, and I guess maybe it's like how there's, like for me, like I get why there's an Adult Swim app and a Cartoon Network app, because those are two different. Although they do have a lot of overlap, they are technically two different target audiences.
I think the CWC might be a different target audience, but
okay.
But
I don't know. It seems like they have the same characters because you're talking about a Constantine cartoon. I'm like, isn't Constantine on the CW? I don't know.
But Lilith, next episode of Newcastle Crew, are we going to do those 5 episodes of
Let's piece it out. I need.
Wait, you want to do each one as an episode? They're only like 10-minute episodes.
Oh God. Okay, fine.
I mean, if you want, but I mean, each episode's only 10 minutes long. I don't know how you're gonna get a whole podcast out of each one.
15 minutes, we're good. That's what we set the Newcastle Crew podcast at. Like,
if that's what you want to do, that's fine with me.
I mean,
but then your review is actually longer than the show.
Well, come on, it's the Capes and Lunatics. Of course it is.
Branding.
Branding. There we go.
All right.
Okay.
I know Lilith is chomping at the bit to talk Black Lightning.
Yeah. Did anybody else watch it this week?
Yes, I watched it.
Oh my gosh, like, yes, this is how you react to being lied to. It was a little over the top, but I like this episode overall. It's actually coming together quite nicely. Season 1 is shaping up to be a pretty darn good season. First season for a superhero show.
Thunder got her official suit. Jennifer discovers she has powers and freaked out.
Like, who just? I mean, I could lift a bed though, not for nothing.
With a human being on it?
Yeah.
But
not that high, but I can lift it.
I guess the for Canadian citizenship they don't test for steroids. Okay.
No, but it's less about lifting it and more about the ease with which you do it. It's like
fair enough.
It's like
yeah, she's not going.
Yeah, yeah. When it's easy to do it, then that is a different thing. Now, here's my question to you, because I've been sitting with the Black Lightning issue, because of course I missed a bunch of episodes. So my question is, do I go back and do I watch all the previous episodes, or do I just jump in full feet right now?
You can do it either way. But I think at least watch the one where it's more Tobias focused, where he wants to go kill him, where Black Lightning wants to go kill him, and they have that discussion. What is that, episode 5, Phil?
Maybe.
Yeah, the one that's about Tobias and him wanting to kill him. That is a great episode. And the villain, I really enjoy the villain in this series. Like, they finally got it right with like a villain that feels threatening.
Okay. So I'm going to start at episode 5, and I'll start rewatching them. I'll try and catch up by next week. We'll see what we can. Unfortunately, they were sold out of Vampironica, so I didn't get
I saw that.
I'm so sad. But they said, yeah, it'll be a couple weeks before they get it. But they're going to order it for me.
It's going to be Wait, I think you're really going to enjoy it. I think it'll scratch all the itches.
Well, and then maybe that'll be my first one to go back on pull, because I'm off of pulls right now. And so, does Archie have, can you, buy it digitally, or?
I think you can, but that's actually one of the things that I don't even think about. They have an app, I think, so you might be able to do it digitally.
Yeah. My thing is I'm always very uncomfortable with buying digital comics. I've done a couple, and I was debating if I wanted to get the Infinity War Preludes digitally, but I was like, you know what? I got to support my local comic book shop, because, those guys need my help, man.
Well, yeah, one of the biggest comic book stores in LA, the Melt, is closing down for business. Well, that's because they treat their customers like crap. I've been in that place more than once, and yeah. So I mean, maybe some other people have had better experiences, but every single time I went in there,
customer service people.
Yeah, I get the feeling that big comic book stores are harder to maintain than small shops. Because I do see lots of small shops that do open up. I do see some that close, but I do see a lot of small shops that open up and stay open. And I think there's enough of an interest in the business model that, in the business that, multiple cities can maintain more than one comic book shop, So, I mean, I like that they still exist. I like the comic book shops still exist.
Yeah, I prefer I don't think that I prefer the mom and pop. I prefer the mom and pop feel, but they actually hire people that know what they're talking about. It's not just somebody's grandma that doesn't read comic books. They're just there at the register. They actually hire some knowledgeable staff. You know what I mean?
I've never been to a comic book store that I felt like that was the case. Usually the people
they're mostly collectible shops that just happen to sell comic books.
Oh, okay, yeah. That might be, yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah, I've never, I mean, I don't really see those very much, so, because I get my comic books at a comic book store. Some
Well, they
child of the
go to the
80s.
comic book shop and you go, ooh, okay, let me just.
So they've expanded into the comic book. Look, man, comic books is not a business.
It might be a Florida thing because that's where I noticed it the most. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed, like, you know, I've seen antique dealers that have comic books, but they always are an antique shop, and we have some comic books over there. You know,
the store I go to has been there for a while because like they're like he's like primarily comic books and you know some collectibles now, but back in the day it was like the big things were comic books and CDs.
CDs.
Well, this was like in the 90s, yeah.
I know, but that's just a weird combination.
I know.
You know, it's like a music shop and a comic book shop. That's
well, no,
I don't know about that.
Well, I mean, maybe if it was albums and it was like hipster, I don't know.
Yeah.
Get your LPs and your comic books.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, but no, I go to comic book shops that are primarily comic book shops. But, you know, then again, I live in New Jersey, and, you know, we are I think, you know, this is where Kevin Smith is from. So we maybe have a weird market for nerdery in that way.
Yeah, I definitely think the Northeast does have, like, that whole thing going for it.
Yeah.
More so than anywhere else.
Oh, they're calling you. You two are calling out the whole Northeast, huh?
Well, yeah, like I mean, when I go to Boston, there's tons of comic book shops too, and even in Philly, there's a ton of comic book shops.
Yeah, so, I like the Northeast. I like where I live.
The summer's great. I can't deal with those winters. I don't know how y'all do it.
Oh, listen to Miss Canada. I don't know how you deal with the winters.
I'm dying. My blood thinned out while I was in Florida. I'm like, I mean, I did live in a place that had snow before Florida.
You'll acclimate. You'll acclimate. And you're in Vancouver. It's not like you got
cold.
Okay. Toronto, where you get the lake effect snow. That is where it's, or Ontario, or anywhere in Ontario, or like Windsor. Oh, Windsor. You don't want to be in Windsor, man.
That's right across from Detroit. You definitely don't want to be in Windsor. Detroit gets a horrible winter.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Although it's kind of neat because you can have that little Gotham Metropolis vibe thing where it's like it's
right
Detroit
over the bridge and
yes.
something better.
Yeah, well, you know.
Well, Detroit has casinos now, so you know.
So does Windsor.
For that. Yeah, as I'm saying, you don't need to go across the bridge for that anymore.
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons they actually legalized gambling in Detroit. Was they said, look, they've got a casino in Windsor, and all of our money is going to Canada. We don't want to help out those friendly giant watching bastards. So those kids in the hall with their
flappy heads and their beady little eyes.
This was before them. That's you know, that is
that newfangled South Park.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, man. That got so popular so fast. Well, yeah, I know South Park's been around for a while, but Canada's existed longer than South Park. Actually, it had its own set of culture and stereotypes long before they decided to make a joke about their cheesy animation within their cheesy animation show, because that was just the whole. I don't think they had originally intended. In fact, I would wager. Well, no, because I mean, yeah. Who knows? Who knows what they actually intended when they created all these things? But I got a feeling it wasn't all this big board with lines, and this will be how we introduce the fact that all Canadians have floppy heads and things like that. And Ike will secretly be a Canadian, which will reveal 4 seasons later. You know, I don't think that was their thing. I think that it was just, you know, ease of animation with certain things, and the Terrence and Phillip was supposed to be a parody of South Park was their idea, and you know, and so it goes, and it just got out of hand.
We need a tangent alert button, Phil. Work on that.
Well, you know,
hey, Terrence, guess what's in the news right now?
What? Oh. Yeah. There we go.
But no, did you see Hollywood Listens to Charlie S? Or how many weeks ago was that when you were saying about why don't they introduce Sheldon on the Big Bang Theory? Why don't they introduce Sheldon's brother? Why haven't they introduced him yet? We got the news this week for the wedding. They're getting the brother. Did you see this, Lilith?
No.
Oh, you don't see who's going to be portraying the brother?
Who?
Jerry O'Connell.
Good for him. He hosted Wendy for a whole week, Wendy Williams show while she was gone, and I totally forgot how much I actually love that guy. As long as he doesn't bring his brother along. When he brings the brother along, it ruins everything. No offense.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, his brother I think of much more in as the establishment idea of Sheldon's brother. I think Jerry O'Connell's brother would fit that mold a little better as far as being a dumb guy. But no, but you cut me off before I could say, Lilith, you'll never guess his secret identity. And as he slides into her life, and you know, I just hope that Sheldon will still stand by him. Now here's what I really want a scene with Will Wheaton and Jerry O'Connell.
That's where you get to stand by me joke. That's where you get to stand by me joke.
I don't think he's hosting any after TV shows, so we might be able to get Will Wheaton.
Well, you know, Will Wheaton's going to be invited to Sheldon's wedding.
Wheaton.
Yes. So just Wheaton and Jerry O'Connell together again. I think that alone is worth the price of admission. That is like Planet Detroit on Krypton. It's like
I was really shocked that he actually proposed to her. Like, I was actually just kind of catching up on Big Bang. What was it, like 2 weekends ago? And I was watching this season, and I was like, well, he proposed to her in a messed up way, but you know, it's Sheldon. He don't know no better.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the idea.
You know, once a year, man, he has to have it.
Yeah. You know.
Up to 4 times.
You know, hey man, he's 7 times.
I know.
7 times more than a Vulcan, you know, if you think about it. So it's like he is all about that.
I can't believe Bernadine was pregnant again too. I was just like, I think that is I like how they portrayed the second baby. It's just like, yeah.
I think that's because she was pregnant in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, but as far as Sheldon proposing to Amy, I mean they've been building to that for a while. Ever since his mom told him to keep the ring, you knew that was Chekhov's ring. You know.
Yeah.
You introduce a ring in a story, someone's going to get proposed to.
But you got to remember, I don't watch Big Bang for years at a time.
Okay.
Literally, I get the, it's like, hey, I wonder what Johnny Galecki's up to. Let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, nice segue. The Roseanne reboot starts Tuesday.
Yep.
I actually I've been rewatching Roseanne. Like I said, the early seasons aren't so when she's still at the factory and it's very, you know, that blue collar politics kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And now that she's a Trump supporter, I wonder how that's all going to change.
Well, I mean,
it's not going to be the sole focus of it. Because she is a little cuckoo, you know. Yeah. But everybody's a little cuckoo.
Well, first off, I don't know how much the fact that she's a Trump supporter is even going to play into the story. You know, and I think that if nothing else, I think that's the kind of thing where at most she's making this point that, you know, people feel disaffected, blue collar, Midwestern life, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. I think there's an argument to be made. I don't think it's going to be a central focus of this story. I think it's actually.
Yeah, I just don't know what it's going to be anymore.
Yeah, I think at most it's going to be, you know, it's going to be Roseanne and Dan now are both thinner, and man,
he lost a lot of weight.
John Goodman, I'm wagering had some kind of surgery there.
Yeah, which I think he might have that thing.
Yeah, which is good for him, you know. And at a certain point,
but he's still an ample American, no doubt about it.
No, he's still an ample American, but he's no longer a guy who had to lose weight to play the babe. You know, he is definitely a more physically fit older man now, which makes sense because he's aging, and as you age,
probably had to be, yeah.
Yeah, you either die or you get healthier.
I just can never see past him as Linda Tripp on SNL because, of course, I grew up in the great Bill Clinton scandal era where that literally was on TV for like 3 years. And that is just burned into my mind every time I see John Goodman.
Yes. Well, that was his reoccurring character, and he was happy to do it. And that was where we were. That was so long ago. Oh,
it's seared into my
the
brain.
scandals.
Thank you, lamestream media.
No, to me, it's just every time I think back to the past and like what constituted a political scandal, I'm like,
who was sitting president cheated on his wife with? Yeah, we're so past that.
Well, yeah, when it was a scandal, that was like, that this was a constitutional crisis, not Tuesday. Now it's Tuesday, And
5 tweets and we forget.
Not that we even forget. It's just like, here's what I'll say. It's still a scandal. Everything about Trump is still a scandal. It's just that it is
Wrong.
So much of just he's in just such a state of constant scandal that what are you going to do at this point? It's like you have to wait until either Republicans in Congress decide they don't want to have a nuclear war, which I actually think John Bolton is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back there. Because if you have a nuclear war, you can't get money from tobacco or oil companies anymore.
That's right.
And that's one thing all of Congress, regardless of politics, can agree on. Nuclear wars are bad for business. And
that's right.
When these, and when you have people actually saying, yeah, we could totally preemptively strike North Korea, it's like, oh, goodness, this is not a good day to.
That's not what you want to hear. No.
Yeah, and it's like, regardless of your politics, business is business. And business only continues.
The business is basically politics now, because I feel like they should wear NASCAR jackets with all their sponsors, because there's way too much money in politics.
Yeah, but you know what? Every company that pays off a politician is a person that's employing someone.
Thank you very much.
That's how you want to look at it.
Well, it is. It's an aspect of the reality of the world. It's like, yes, these are industries that are buying politicians, but they're also employing people. It's like if you work for the gun lobby, if you actually work for the gun industry, if you either are a gun salesman or a gun manufacturer or just, a guy who sells sandwiches outside the gun shop, there's actually this stuff actually affects you in a weird way, So I'm not the kind of guy who sees businesses' influence in government as necessarily is by its nature bad. It often is bad for society because we wind up spending money on stupid things, but we spend money on stupid things anyway. Yeah. That's the thing. It's like
where's my bridge to Hawaii? What's up, Bojack? Of all the things, I'm like, yes, why haven't we done this?
Hey, they're talking about making a high-speed bullet train from here to Chicago, I think.
Bullet trains are actually a decent.
It's like an old concept now. I mean, Japan does it better. We'll never do it as good as Japan. Just deal with it.
Actually, no, we could do it better than Japan because Japan's is 40 years old now. So it's like if we make. Yeah, it's still really good, but it's like if we built one now, we could use better technology. It wouldn't be.
Would we?
Hey, if I can take a 2-hour trip to Chicago so my son can learn at the feet of Molly Southgate, I'm all for it.
Well, there we go, man. I would. Well, actually, you can do that right now. You just have to get on a plane.
Boo! Planes are gross. And the price for a ticket is ridiculous. If you want to fly on a decent airline,
and unless you have some kind of business discount, don't you have to pay for every bag or something?
Yeah, well, it depends on what airline you are. Usually you get 2 free bags. And you get 1 check.
No one go United.
You are flying.
Well, I guess I am on a business because United. That's what our deal is. United, American.
Well, I know you didn't take those dogs on that plane.
No, my boyfriend drove them.
Exactly.
So he drove to Canada. Why not bring his car?
For you.
Yes, for me. Like I said, the truck gets 8 miles to the gallon. He had to get his
stop every 20 minutes.
I don't know. I think he's just looking for. I think he's being whiny. I'm gonna say it. I think he's being whiny. I think it's like when my kids like don't want to go to school and they're like, oh, why do we have to go to school? It's like because you have to. This, we're not having this conversation today. If he doesn't want to drive mass transit, get his car. He has a car.
He didn't want to go. He did it all for her.
Yeah, I told him it was going to be a lifestyle adjustment. I was like, you have to learn how to live in a big city, baby. Okay, like you have to learn how to get around.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's. What my point is that he has to pull the Band-Aid off, because once he gets into it, he'll actually say, "Oh, that's really useful. That's actually good."
He's like me, though. He actually hates people, so I totally get what he's saying.
I know, but you don't actually have to talk to people on the subway. Here's the thing: people on the subway don't actually want to talk to you. And people
everybody wants to talk. No, like seriously, I get what he's saying. I don't know. We usually take the car service to work, but and we can, once it gets better weather, we can walk. And he's gonna hate that too.
Car services. Those people in car service always want to talk to you. Ugh.
Yeah, there's no partition in ours either, so. You should take a proper taxi like a human being, where there's a nice glass wall. There's no Uber or Lyft up here either. So, because they have like GoCar. So,
anyway,
not go-karts, but GoCar. That's the company.
Yeah, but what I will say is, if you can take a GO train, nobody wants to talk to you. You can have your newspaper. You can put in your earbuds. You can do whatever you want. You just sit on your GO train. You get off at your stop. Walk into work.
Yeah, you gotta teach him proper subway etiquette. He don't know.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, he'll learn. And what I'll say is, once I got into when I didn't have my car for a while and I was taking the subway, after a while I was like, oh, I love mass transit. I love getting my coffee at the kiosk, getting on the train, popping my podcasts or music or whatever the heck I want to listen to.
Listening to himself. Yeah.
Listening to my own voice talk to me about how smart I am. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I was like, oh my goodness, I can just talk to myself. Isn't that amazing? Your boyfriend needs to do a podcast.
How amazingly American of you, Charlie.
Yes. But you know what? Hey, it's North American. People in Canada are no different than me.
They're really not.
No, they're not.
I met more Americans here than I have Canadians so far, so it's just really weird.
Yeah, we were in Vancouver. That's like LA in Canada. It's like no one's from there. They all move there,
Yeah, except for the business owners. The business owners in our neighborhood have been here forever. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty cool.
Yes.
So, Lilith, in like a year's time, are we getting invitations?
No, stop it,
Philip. Yeah, why are you obsessed with her getting married?
He moved to a foreign country for her. He wants to put her ring on.
No, we are perfectly happy being permanently engaged. I happen to not wear my ring unless his family's around.
Oh, you actually are engaged. Okay. Oh, well, you're engaged. Okay, well that's fine then.
When the family's around, is that what you said?
Philip,
I don't really like jewelry or anything like that. That's just not who I am. But yeah, when we go to like family dinners, the ring comes on, and yes, we're still permanently engaged. Yes, we're living in sin. Deal with it.
I mean, you have children together.
We have 3 beautiful fur babies.
Yes. Let it go, Phil. Let it go. Okay.
Where's that button?
Everybody will have their own relationships and will work them out as they need to.
Yeah, I don't want a legal piece of paper in case I have to.
That's fine.
Cut and run.
It's gonna come up through that library of comic books.
You know what?
Tesla.
Sometimes you can actually have a happier relationship if you don't feel like because some people when you have to have that lawyer involved, you start to feel trapped. If you don't have to have a lawyer involved, you don't feel trapped. Other people, it's the complete opposite. But you know what? You have to find what's right for you. Like I said, my friend Ed and his girlfriend have been together for like 40 years now, longer than most marriages. So you call it a day if it works for you. Don't be so judgmental, Phil.
I shouldn't say that.
No, Phil is just judgmental.
We'll just have a party just for Phil where everybody cosplays and there's like a little altar in the back.
Just want someone to give him a cake. Phil just wants cake.
I want to cosplay and marry somebody. Okay, come on.
You know what?
What?
Let's run a thing. Let's run a contest. Getting married, have Phil marry you. You having a cosplay wedding? Phil will marry you.
Price cake.
Oh, and
Travel expenses
he
and
can even dress it. He can even dress as Matt Murdock.
Nightwing. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, no, but Matt Murdock's a lawyer, which is closer to marrying you than a spy or an acrobat.
Anyone can get ordained. Just ask Phil Coulson.
Yeah.
Or our lovely Rob Southgate.
Jedi Master and Reverend Rob Southgate.
Did Phil Coulson actually get engaged, or was that just like, yeah, I'll say you're married because we're all on the run?
I don't know. Anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that marriage was in any way legal.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like, when did he get ordained, man?
Yeah, he's just marrying them as in his capacity as director of a non-existent organization.
Unless he was ordained like pre-Iron Man 1 or something. I don't know.
Well, he might have done it in college. A lot of people get ordained in college, but those kind of things you technically have to renew. Mm-hmm. And depending on
you can do it on the internet like 10 seconds now. So.
Well, technically, depending on the municipality, I mean, you just really kind of have to just declare yourself ordained, and you can be ordained. It all depends on what the local state laws of marriage license issuances are. And those two people are both foreigners anyway, so, they may not even be legally allowed to get married in that state because they're not residents. So, for example, in New Jersey, your marriage license must be issued by the county of residence of the wife. So wherever your wife lives, or the city of residence. So because my wife lived in Montclair, we had to get because her permanent residence was in Montclair. I had to go to Montclair City Hall to get the marriage license in New Jersey, because that's the rule of New Jersey. New Jersey has, and every state and city have their own rules, their own obligations.
Just get married in Vegas. Ugh.
And Vegas has very lax rules, where literally, I think you just have to say you're a church and you can marry people. Because Elvis impersonators marry people all the time. I don't think they're legal.
When I lived in Vegas, that was the first place that I actually went. The little white wedding chapel. It's still there. It's still great. They still have at the time, this was like almost 10 years ago now. The pink Cadillac and everything. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you can. I mean, people. That's a big
drive-through weddings. All that.
And you can get both legal and non-legal weddings. So you can actually go to Vegas and you can get the wedding and not sign a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's an option as well. For people who just want weddings. So, and you know what, Phil? If you want a wedding so bad, why don't you marry your wife again?
Yay! Renew the vows! Renew your vows!
There you go.
I love that book. But,
yeah, so there you go.
Are you all going to show up if I do that?
I will.
Yeah.
You got to pick a good time. Got to be summertime.
She'll be like, why?
I can always come to your
would love that. Are you serious? She would love that. Oh no, she wants to dress up as Mary Jane or not, but I'll definitely come as Miles Morales.
I thought you were coming as a second Power Girl.
I'm gonna keep it in the Marvel family if you have a Spider-Man thing.
Wow. Gender Ben Miles Morales. Anyway, should we jump the comics?
Yeah, comic books.
Since we're all
comic books.
Did we read anything interesting this week, guys?
Thor was good.
Mighty Thor 705. Looks like the end of the road for Jane Foster.
Yeah. Good. Maybe I can finally come back to a Thor book.
Oh. Well, yeah.
I just never could get into that. I just wasn't feeling it.
I mean,
what was weird to me?
What
was weird to me in this book was that they have Heimdall send Jane to the moon, and I thought actually the hammer came to her on Earth. No. I thought they'd previously established that. So,
because remember back when it originally happened, they showed like a shadowy figure on the moon. But my question is, she wasn't wearing like any suit or anything. So how was she like surviving on the moon long enough to pick up the hammer?
It was dropped in the blue area of the moon.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There's still a blue area of the moon. The Inhumans used to live there. And then the humans took off from there. But the city's still there, you know. Uetu still lives there. Well, not Uetu anymore, but his wife and kid live there. Which was weird that they established that he had a wife and kid. You know, I can't wait to see little Uetu's son, little Uetu, going about his business. It was a nice little side thing.
But yeah, I mean, there's nobody. I forgot about the blue area, but there's like nobody, like hardly anyone there now. It's like Detroit on the moon.
Well, because the Inhumans moved out, and you know, like I said, but yeah, I mean, the only people who go there anymore are Blue Marvel and Uetu and his kid, Uetu's wife, I guess, is hanging out there because we have to have a Watcher. So I'm guessing Uetu's wife is now the Watcher. Huh. They really have. I'm wondering what they've done with as far as Watchers since Uatu died. So
yeah, they haven't really said much about that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
so
I guess they're gonna wrap up her whole spoiler alert death next issue, and then there's some kind of one shot, Mighty Thor: The Gates of Valhalla.
Okay, yeah, well, because she's going to go to Valhalla. I mean, that's the thing. It's not like death actually kills anyone in the Marvel universe.
Well, did you see
especially not when you're in the Norse? If you hang out with the Norse, because you just go to Valhalla. It's like you literally walk across the street to another room.
Well, did you see?
And that's what happens when you die.
Are you put up on your Avengers cartoon on Disney XD? Did you see what they did with her there?
No, I actually have not been watching anything on the Disney XD.
It was kind of like the end of that Secret Wars thing because she had picked up Thor's hammer, but they gave her the Thunderstrike mace.
Oh, okay. So she's Jane Foster Thunderstrike mace, which they could still do in the comic. She's not dead yet.
Nobody's rocking that Thunderstrike thing.
You know, not for nothing. Doctor Strange just brought back Las Vegas, and this was the thing. You know, in Damnation, they kill Johnny Blaze.
Spoilers, yeah.
And then did you see what else came out this week?
What?
The preview for Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider #1. That literally takes place 2 seconds after he is killed. So
it's like him and Ghost Rider separately in hell, isn't it?
Yeah, because they're in hell. So it's like, but immediately it's like, it just shows the impermanence of death because, of course, death is not an end. It's this idea that
to a different state.
Exactly, it's a transition to a different state, and once you can transition one way, doors swing both ways.
Well, they always try to like play those deaths now as like these big shocking things, and it's always like you know if it's not Uncle Ben, they're bringing this character back at some point.
You know, Uncle Ben's gonna be a comeback. Just you wait. Even in the alternate universe, that he's gonna get ripped.
No. They did bring him back in an alternate universe. He's actually he is in the Spider-Girl universe. Because it's the Ben Parker that got bit by this.
But I mean, no matter how big your sacrifice, they always bring you back. Ask Barry Allen and Jean Grey.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Speaking of Jean Grey, but not really.
X-Men
Gold was poop. I cannot believe.
I don't get this whole storyline. I'm like, why did they agree to go to prison?
About the Shredded Man. Who cares about the Shredded Man?
Weren't the X-Men always outlaws anyway? Why would you agree to go to jail?
I don't know. They saw what's that show, The Gifted, do it. So they're like, yeah, let's do that.
I mean,
I
don't know if you're letting if you're going.
Yeah, X-Men Blue is definitely.
What are they going to jail for? Just out of curiosity, did they actually commit a crime, or is it just well, you're
just general mutant,
You're a beauty.
Being a mutant on a sunny day, I get it.
And then because nothing good happened, because by the end of the issue, Storm gets locked in solitary confinement, small metal box. That ain't good. She's claustrophobic.
She can just electrocute herself to death when she's done with it. You know what I mean?
Well, she has a power dampener. She can't even do that.
You can always overcome a power dampener. Come on, Phil. With the mental fortitude.
Oh, listen to you. Oh, well, you're the one who can lift the bed right over her head. So
and not for nothing. When your powers are electricity based, power dampeners always get shorted out.
Yeah.
When your powers I can call down lightning, it's like the tech really isn't that good. Although, of course, you technically could have spin technology, which they actually did create, and now they have to sort of forget about all the time. Although I think they
too many inventions to keep track of.
Yeah, well, I think they did come up with like a workaround with it, where there was like, oh, the body, once your body, you can get immunized to it or something like that. They came up with something in one of the secondary books about it, because originally it was, oh, you had to have the spin technology had to be specially keyed to each person, and then someone created one. Someone said, well, what if we just said it works for everybody? And it's like, okay, but now you've just created something that can get rid of everyone's powers. But then again, they already had that when Forge created the gun that took away your mutant powers. But they said, well, but then eventually they come back. Because basically, life finds a way, as Jeff Goldblum would say.
Did anybody pick up Weapon H? Because I didn't. I'm not impressed. I'm not going to pick up issue number 2.
From what I've seen, I will not impressed. But yeah, I didn't pick it up.
Yeah.
But
don't.
That just never struck me as a good idea. First off, anytime they try to manufacture Hulks, it's never a good idea.
No matter what company it is, I agree.
When you mix your two, when you mix like two properties like Hulk and Wolverine, it's like.
Well, not only that, but it's just first off, even in base Marvel continuity, anytime they create Hulks, it always ends poorly. There's never been a manufactured Hulk that doesn't end poorly, either because it's a bad story or just because the Hulk itself burns itself out, and it doesn't work as a concept. And then, and not for nothing, if like superpowers were so. This is one of the biggest problems with science-based superpowers, is that once you establish, well, why don't we just make everyone Hulks? It's like once you can recreate the effects, which they do all the time, when you have this basic problem that, way more than the technology issue is just the fact that why doesn't everyone have superpowers issue?
It cannot necessarily be compatible with everybody, or there's always a loophole.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can always create the loopholes, but they seem to ignore those loopholes when it's convenient, and you get to this point where it's like, if we could manufacture Hulks so easily, why aren't we manufacturing Hulks more? Which at least back when they had like an official prohibition on superpowered soldiers, it made sense. Because they actually did have a whole thing in an old X-Men comic where it was like there was a Cold War. It was a gentleman's agreement. It wasn't a formal treaty. But by this point, you would have a formal treaty that would said, we agree not to use superpower-enhanced soldiers because it's going to create an arms race that's going to destroy humanity much faster than bombs, because the soldiers will eventually kill us all because we created an army of Hulks. And there's no way to control an army of Hulks.
Marvel just needs some version of the metagene, some excuse. It's like
they have it technically.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah,
you mean you want like a Bang Baby thing or what? Like,
what? No, I just like, why did the super soldier suit really work for Steve Rogers? Because he had a metagene.
No, actually,
yeah.
There actually was an interesting idea they put it forth in that, which was that essentially it worked for Steve Rogers, not because of anything in Steve Rogers' physiognomy. It's just that mentally he was just prepared for it.
Yes,
and it's sort of the RoboCop explanation. In RoboCop 2, when they explained why Murphy didn't kill himself, it was because he was Catholic. That was basically what it all boiled down to. He was Catholic.
Catholic guilt.
Catholic guilt wouldn't let him kill himself.
They've done that in the comics. I mean, back in the 90s when they did the whole thing with like, when Ben Reilly first figured out he was a clone, he was like, why am I here? I would kill myself, but I was cloned from a guy who considers suicide a mortal sin.
Okay. Peter Parker's Catholic? I guess a lot of Christians think.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I always thought he was Jewish. I don't know.
Better than the Flash being Jewish. Just
Justice League in the Justice League movie.
Yeah, this Jewish
boy. They just pulled that out of
nowhere. Felicity.
They pulled that out of nowhere.
Okay, yeah, that's I always assumed he was Jewish because Ben Parker looks a lot like what's his name? Jack Kirby. And all of the Kirby analogs wind up being Jewish, like Ben Grimm. So I always assumed Ben Parker was Jewish.
But no, we were talking about resurrections and manufacturer superpowers. Anyone read Tales of Suspense 103?
Not yet. It's
Black
on my
Widow.
list though.
Black Widow's back.
Yeah, it's
already.
on my list too.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm starting to like really have sympathy for Hawkeye. So
I know she's all mad that he's on
since Green Arrow's
Infinity
going
War
down
more.
the tank, I'm just gonna.
He's got a good arc in Infinity War, they say. Okay.
Ronin.
I'll see it when it hits Blu-ray.
You're not going to go live? You're going to go see Ready Player One, but you're not going to go see Avengers.
I had to go see Pacific Rim Uprising or whatever it was last night. I fell asleep. He was so mad. I fell asleep in a deep, like, dude. I was just. It was an awful movie.
Well, the first Pacific Rim didn't do that well.
He loved it. I don't know
Oh, your
why. And I
boyfriend.
love Charlie Hunnam, and that's the only reason why I agreed. It was.
I guess he likes big robots that fight. So
Yeah, he
he
you
likes
know
the
what? He likes
Transformers
that.
too,
What's
doesn't
that Rock'em Sock'em movie with Hugh Jackman? He liked that movie too. So
Oh,
he might be on to something.
But that was a good movie. With that, because that had heart.
That was schmaltzy as hell.
Exactly.
I am not in the schmaltzy.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's Smallville.
But it's about a boy who finds the purpose. He connects with his son.
I like Iron
over
Giant. It was
illegal-
Iron Giant did it better.
Well, yeah.
Plus, isn't the voice of Iron Giant Vin Diesel? So that might be a thing that I need to reevaluate as well.
Does the kid in Iron Giant have a relationship with his father? Is that a thing?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Yeah, because the whole point of Real Steel is that he has that relationship with his father, which is manufactured because this is all based on a short story about robot fighting,
Exactly.
which was a great in the first Twilight Zone with Lee Marvin, I believe, is the Hugh Jackman character.
Oh.
Yeah. Although in that one, basically what happens is that because in the actual original story, and it's based on a short story that each one is like it's like they take the title and they just and the idea of robot fighting and then they just completely write a new storyline. But in the Lee Marvin one on Twilight Zone, what it basically is like Lee Marvin used to be a boxer, like the Hugh Jackman character, but then they outlaw boxing and then he becomes a trainer for the robots, but he can't get a decent robot. And what happens in the Lee Marvin story is he decides he's just going to go in the ring and get murdered by the robot because he'd rather die as a boxer.
Now,
Because-
that is an amazing story. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because basically his robot breaks and he's on the hook. He has to put something in, so he decides to go in himself as the robot, and he goes and he fights and he gets basically pummeled to death because
when things
John
were
Henry
afraid
doesn't
to
win the
be
fight.
dark and gritty in a good way.
yes, because
Not
John
just
Henry
dark and
doesn't
gritty
beat
for the sake of being dark and gritty.
Yeah, but so that's the origin of the story of Real Steel. But then that's a 30-minute Twilight Zone episode. They have to make it into a 2-hour film. So they
So
put
we
a
had kid and schmaltiness ensues.
exactly, and
Did anybody read any DC this week?
I did.
What did you read?
I read Brave and the Bold #2 with
Was it
Batman
good?
and Wonder Woman.
Were they brave? Were they bold?
They were. It was actually pretty good. I was actually shocked that it was actually good. They haven't really been doing Wonder Woman justice in any comic book version lately, so I was actually shocked that it was this good. I like it. I don't think that I like the Brave and the Bold franchise or whatever, but for a while it had been very hit and miss. So I was happy to see this. The artwork was great too. So it was by Liam Sharp. I'm not familiar with him at all. I think he's done a couple of backup stories in those like holiday specials or whatever. But yeah, they're investigating some mysticism, so it's pretty cool.
Lilith, you didn't read Super Sons 14?
Nope, not interested anymore. Sorry.
For some reason that escapes me, Talia's trying to kill Lois Lane, so Damien kicks the crap out of Talia.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Why is
Maybe they'll make an animated movie about that. The Batman and Son franchise hasn't had a new movie update, so maybe we can do that.
And did you give up on Nightwing on this new team?
I haven't read it yet. I bought it, but I haven't read it yet.
It's decent. It's good. I mean, it's no Tim Seeley, but it's passable. You know, it's
It's
intriguing enough. It's strong enough.
Now, now, Phil, Avengers this week.
Oh yes.
With of course Gwenpool as the amazing
Voyager.
Gwenpool is Voyager, and you know that because Gwenpool's already betraying the Grandmaster. And you watch, man. It's going to be the
Don't
reveal.
let me get a quote from Mark Waid. Charlie.
Did he say it wasn't Gwen? Did he say it wasn't Gwenpool?
No, but don't make me go hit him up for all.
You see if he responds. You see what he says. Okay. No, it is very clearly that she has no loyalty to the Grandmaster. I mean, she has retconned her own existence to be this, but clearly Voyager is not playing the Grandmaster's game because you have a character that no one has ever heard of that gets first introduced here, rewriting people's memories, and is already betraying the person that ostensibly she is created to serve. No, this is clearly someone who is retconning her own existence, retconned herself into the Avengers, and so why shouldn't we assume she retconned herself to be the Grandmaster's daughter? You watch, the Voyager is not who she appears to be.
We can only
maybe even more than she thinks so.
We can only have one retconning female in the Marvel Universe, Charlie. Can't have more than one.
That we have established. No, if there's another one, that's great. If they want to establish another character, but I do think that this is Gwenpool. I'm just saying that the timing lines up too perfectly. The end of Gwenpool and the appearance of Voyager. The things they show what Gwenpool does in the last book. I'm just saying, and the fact of the matter is, they put the UPC codes on the covers of the comic books when they show Voyager outside of the universe.
They're lazy.
No, it goes to a whole nother level of lazy. It goes to making a point of showing that she is outside of the universe. She is in that fictional universe. Now, possible that you could say that this character actually did go out into that part of the universe, and maybe it is some other storyline. Maybe this is going to be tied into that new Century series that's coming out. Another character who has that amazing retcon power. And a lot of characters have retcon powers. Let's never forget the Scarlet Witch's power is literally retcon power. She rewrites history to make whatever thing that's going to happen. But I get the feeling just by the fact that Jarvis is the one who could see through the issue, that Jarvis gets taken out of commission. There's a lot of stuff that's very tropey about it that gets excused because it's Gwenpool. Basically, I think it's either Gwenpool or it's just bad writing. So, that's my take on it. And I think that if you're a Gwenpool is Voyager fan like I am, you get more in this issue with just the way that she's interacting with her father, the Grand Master. You watch. You let it play out, Phil. You let it play out. And of course, we get the first meeting of the Immortal Hulk.
The Hulk's back.
The Hulk's back, and Vision's dead again.
Oh, I was gonna say again.
Yeah, again. Yeah, they kill him off.
The Hulk basically tears through everybody until the last page. Who's gonna throw down with him? Maybe, even though he's a pacifist now.
Well, no. Well, he actually isn't throwing down with him. He's.
I know, but he's just like, hey, can we talk?
Yeah.
A verbal throwdown.
Being that no one had tried with the Hulk.
Wonder Man.
Oh, really?
And not for and not for nothing. That's such a Squirrel Girl way to approach it. Or a way how Gwenpool. Well, no, how Gwenpool wouldn't approach it because Gwenpool isn't going to talk. But the fact that you're going to go outside of that box and have someone just sit down and talk to the Hulk for a minute.
Because that always works.
Well, you know what? It couldn't in this situation because
Play some music. I hear it soothes the savage beast.
It's someone who the Hulk can't really fight, because if you don't engage with the Hulk, how does the Hulk deal with you? You know, if you're not going to be a target for the Hulk, what do you do? It's like for example, if the Vision just stayed intangible, you know, the Hulk might not have been able to defeat him, because, you know, although we got in this at the end of that fight, we got the fact that the Hulk isn't mindless, because the Hulk goes mindless.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Vision was approaching it thinking that the Hulk was mindless, and actually, no, it's not. The Hulk, just because the Hulk's not talking doesn't mean he's mindless. And with Simon engaging him, it's going to make this point, because if nothing else, Simon's going to make the point to him. So what? You work for these guys now? You're somebody's pawn on a board? Is that what you're a chess piece? Is that what's happening? And you know the Hulk ain't going to be caught into that. Mm-hmm. So just the fact that you talk the Hulk out of something totally speaks of it being a Gwenpool issue. I'm telling you, man, it's all there. It's all implied. It's all in the subtext. You watch what happens.
Subtext, aka smut. Sorry.
What?
Sorry. No, when you're like when you're a slash shipper, it's all subtext, which means smut. Just sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have anything else?
Oh, are you gonna plug your thing you're doing next weekend?
Oh yeah, I actually have like 2 different plugs. Yeah, I was gonna do that at the end. That's why. Should I do that now?
Shameless plugs. Let them know where they can find us.
No, next Saturday I'll be at the Rivertown comic and toy show. Get to see me wandering around trying to talk to vendors and whatever else, and probably looking for comics. So come check me out, and also check out the Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. In a few episodes, you're gonna hear a guest narrator. So.
Ooh.
They've given us shout outs before, which is pretty cool because they're like based in Australia. So
very cool. Okay.
But oh yeah, and if anyone has any thoughts on Ready Player One, because are we gonna review it next Saturday night? Correct?
Yes. Anybody else is gonna go see it?
Charlie, are you gonna go see it?
I mean, I theoretically could. So.
Don't worry your pretty little head about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have no idea what this film is about. I have no idea what a Ready Player One is. Like
gaming in the 80s? Did you like living in the 80s and playing games in the 80s, like, you know, video games in the 80s?
It's basically set in a virtual world.
I enjoy Pac-Man very much. And,
there's going to be a lot of 80s references and a lot of pop culture references. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a Pepsi commercial.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So okay.
Directed by Spielberg, yes.
So Spielberg directed a Pepsi commercial. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I got that there's like 80s stuff in there, which is one of these things like, why is something set in the future so obsessed with the 80s?
Because the guy who created this thing grew up in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah, but created what thing? Created
the virtual world,
which I told you the virtual world, yeah.
Okay.
It's not in the not too distant.
It's like if like Bill Gates or somebody created like a virtual
reality
everyone could use.
Isn't it supposed to be like the people in it are creating it? And then wouldn't they like have just as much interest in the 40s as they would in the 80s?
No, it's like technically the thing revolves around an Easter egg hunt by the creator, and his whole thing is 80s stuff. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Okay.
If you want to, you're welcome.
You're really selling this film, is all I gotta say.
Yeah, we're not doing it justice, man.
Okay.
So if anyone sees it and wants to send their thoughts, email us or voicemail us.
We're going Saturday night. 7 or 8. Are you gonna be back in time?
I don't know. What do we want to do? 7 or 8?
It's up to you. 8. Just in case, because doesn't that thing end at like 6 or whatever?
Yeah, but I don't know.
how
I don't know if I'm going to be there till the end. But yeah, let's say 8 o'clock Eastern.
Alrighty.
The easiest way is if people just subscribe to our YouTube and subscribe.
Smash
to us,
that bell.
It'll tell you when we're live.
Give you a 30-minute warning, even.
Exactly.
There you go.
All right. So yeah, and if you want to email us your thoughts, capesandlunatics@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter @CapesLunatics, and check out our Capes and Lunatics sidekicks for Wade's World, Newcastle Crew, Who Podcast The Watchmen, and the new Quantum Zone, the Quasar podcast with me and new guys, Will and Matt. So yeah, Charlie, you listen to that because we talked about some old school Marvel stuff.
Ooh,
Will is actually a college professor.
Oh, an actual professor.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like an English major, but he's teaching a class on comics like this semester.
Okay. So he has a meaningless honorific. Okay, good for him too. That's why I took the name, because it's a meaningless honorific. You don't have to actually have any bona fides to be a professor. You just have to teach a class.
At Charlie S. on Twitter.
That's what you do
No, it's true. And you know what? If he's an English major, he will say, "Yeah, that's actually true." It is a meaningless honorific, unlike a doctor, which actually you have to be. Although a doctorate can be relatively meaningless because you just have to have an institution call you a doctor to actually have a doctorate. Whether or not it's accredited or not, you actually can still call yourself a doctor. Although obviously people will say that only an accredited institution can really give you a doctorate. But you can have an honorary doctorate, which likewise is completely meaningless. So if I ever get my honorary doctorate, I could branch into supervillainy as a doctor. But for right now, my supervillainy is merely a professorship.
So Charlie, if people want to be insulted by you personally, where can they get a hold of you online?
Well, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way. There are Maz and Paz once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, @gmail.com. And of course, follow me on the Twitters the way the hip young kids do nowadays. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser, look with 2 E's in the middle for quality. Watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Couldn't live tweet it last night because my wife wanted her feet rubbed. So
what
you
a
have
good
to
husband.
make your choices. Yeah, well, that's what I get paid the big bucks for.
And Lilith, if people want to recommend a escape route from Canada, how can they get a hold of you?
You guys can find me on Twitter @LilHellfire, live tweeting Black Lightning and Legends for like its next 2 episodes, I guess. I'm gonna try to be home and do the live stream thing. Maybe learn some little nuggets about the Legends fandom. And for everything else, @AdventuresNFG. That's Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, and Instagram. @AdventuresNFG. And also, be sure to send in your birthday wishes. Phil's birthday is April 1st, Sunday. So, at Nightwing PDP, wish him a happy birthday, or even better, rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play as a birthday present.
Cash works too. All right. You know what time it is. Time to say goodbye. All right. Remember, Ready Player One next week. Send your thoughts in. Jesse Jackson, we're looking at you. All right. For another week, this has been the Capes.
Ampersand.
Lunatics.
I forgot my line there for a moment.
What?
I forgot I was supposed to say ampersand.
I
totally forgot.
Ampersand or and. I just never know.
Capes. And you hear Charlie say line.
Like, wait, we're doing that again. Okay, I forgot. I'm not a. Hey, my thing. Let me see here. Can I get? No, I like hit the button to like put on the toolbox like this, like at the start of it, and it's like, and it just came up. So I wanted to see if it could actually work here.
Get it together, Google.
Nope, still none. Still no bar.